Hey there, my name is Przemek, and here is a review of Desiderii Marginis' new album Serenity, Rage. 26 years have passed since Desiderii Marginis' debut, Songs Over Ruins, a very important album to me. It may not be the one of the introductory stages in my dark ambient education, because I got to know it when I was already familiar with the genre, but it's kind of pillars of phase one of my interest in dark ambient. I wrote a very detailed and personal text about Songs of Ruins on the occasion of vinyl reissue in 2017. I'll leave the link to that review in the description if you're interested. After Songs of Ruins, I was looking out impatiently for another Desiderii Marginis albums, Deadbeat, Strife, the Evergreen Tree, That Which is Tragic and Timeless, Seven Sorrows. And when I got them, I was listening to each of them dozens of times, eventually knowing them almost by heart. And after Seven Sorrows, I stopped waiting. For various reasons. My work as a reviewer, which resulted in a significant increase in the amount of music I began to receive, the production of dark ambient music in general, the lack of time because of, adult life, and a few moments of fatigue with ambient music. All this caused that I didn't listen to Procession, Hypnosis, or Departed that much. That doesn't mean these are bad albums. It's still a dark ambient Champions League, but they aren't as important to me as Johan Levin's first works. And I didn't wait for them. There's so much music around these days to check that I don't have time to wait for anything. But as I said, that doesn't mean that I don't welcome any new Desiderii Marginis release with open arms. I didn't wait for Serenity, Rage either, but after a couple of listenings, there's a chance that this album will stay with me a bit longer. Let's start with the cover. Far from typical dark ambient covers, it's a collage by Martin Blatt from IRM. Look at this. You know whose eyes are these? It's Edmund Kemper, the infamous serial killer and necrophile who has murdered several women between 1964 and 1973. Those faces above and below are the faces of his victims. In 1973, he turned himself in to the police, and now he's doing his life sentence. A few years ago, there was this show, Mindhunter, on Netflix, and Kemper was one of the important characters in the first season. He was like the incarnation of evil on one side, but also the object of interest or even a fascination of the FBI agents on the other. As in prison, he was considered as a model prisoner, extremely intelligent, helpful for others, as one of FBI profilers said, quote, friendly, open, sensitive, and having a good sense of humor. Why I talk so much about Kemper in Desiderii Marginis context, you may wonder. Well, the album description says that Serenity Rage focuses on the contradictory human capacity to do both good and evil, where clarity and insight can turn to blind, overwhelming rage, and how we find ourselves moving back and forth across this vast expanse of human emotions. Quote end. I'm not sure if my way of thinking is right or wrong, but these words may relate to Kemper, a hideous monster who kind of showed his human face during his imprisonment. How so? How can two opposite forces be hidden in one's mind? I don't know, maybe it's over-interpretation, but I feel like Kemper is like a personified symbol of this discrepancy, which is the idea of the album. the idea interesting and far from typical dark ambient concepts. The other thing that makes me feel that Serenity Rage will stay with me longer is the music, obviously. It all begins with Kemper's samples from some interview, I guess, and after that I felt like going back in time because the album sounds very, very old school. It's like a return to the times of Songs Over Ruins or Deadbeat, the cold sound of cold meat, so to speak, as if Johan Levin went to his basement or attic, grabbed the dusty old equipment he hasn't been using for 20 years and thought, I'll check if it still works, and recorded a whole new album with it. All is based on atmospheric synths, but also crawling, slightly industrialized drones and slow percussions. Even in the Cyclic Low album's description, they mention the classic death industrial vibe, and yes, it's definitely present here. And Johan shows a perfect craftsmanship in combining these atmospheres and melodies. He's known of with soundscapes that make me think of Megaptera or Brighter Death Now. Actually, there's even a cover of Brighter Death Now here, the Necros Evangelicum track, although it's one of the least violent works from Roger Carmanik. A cover on Dark Ambient album is quite unusual, I think, but I have to admit it's really good. In the end, I think it may be the darkest work from Desiderii Marginis up to date. Maybe the last track, the Hours of Darkness, has more solemn and mournful feeling than the others. It's like the elegy for Kemper's victims, but the rest is really quite disturbing, at least for Desiderii Marginis standards. One more good thing about the album, it's pretty short, it's only 36 minutes long. I said it many times that 10 or 15 years ago I really loved all these 70 minutes monuments, but today I definitely prefer shorter but compact and coherent works without unnecessary fillers. Okay, it's probably my favorite dark ambient album of this year so far, period. That would be it. If you like the content, click subscribe, make a comment if you want, and thanks for watching, and see you soon.